All right, good evening, good evening. Thank you for being here. I'd like to go ahead and call our November 10th, 2025 City Council meeting to order. We are not blessed to have our mayor here just quite yet. He's running a little late, so he will pop in here. So I'll be filling in for him until he show up, but we will go ahead and start with our Pledge of Allegiance, and then Council Member Hicks will lead us in a prayer for tonight. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just bow your heads, please. Heavenly Father, we just come to you today with thanks. Thank you for every person that's represented in this room today. Thank you for every person that's represented within our city. Lord, we just ask that you just continue to keep being a watchful eye over those that I've mentioned, our families, and everyone on our city staff. Lord, we just pray that the time we spend here today is all because you are in the midst of it. Every decision is made is for the best of the greater of our community. Lord, we just ask that you be exemplified in everything and every decision that is made. Lord, we just pray that you just be a watchful eye over those that may be in need this time of year, this time of month. Lord, you just continue to keep watching over those that may not have a place to go tonight, but you just kind of be a watchful eye and just take care of them, put them in the midst of you and somewhere that is warm. Watch over those that protect our safety, our law enforcement. We just protect those that protect our country and watch those, them and their families. Watch over staff members here. Watch over all of our elected officials, those that are making decisions at a federal, state, and a local level. We just ask all of these things. In your name we pray. Everyone say amen.
Amen. All right, our next order of business is the approval of the agenda for tonight.
I approve the agenda.
All right, we have a motion to approve the agenda from Councilmember Hicks. Is there a second? Second from Councilmember Perkle. All those in favor? All right, we're going to go ahead and do the approval of the minutes. If we can have a motion for the council meeting on October 13th in executive session, as long as with the work session October 6th in the executive session.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as stated on the agenda.
We have a motion from Council Member Avery. Do we have a second?
Second.
Perfect. Thank you. All those in favor? All right. We will now go to our awards and presentations and proclamations. We do have two tonight. We want to go ahead and recognize Ann Mulligan if she wants to step up here and give us the Player Guild at Sugar Hill annual report.
Good evening. The calendar year of 2025 has seen Players Guild present 5 productions. The attendance includes the complimentary tickets we give to cast and crew members. Since our actors and crew are unpaid and volunteers, we gave them last year 4 comp tickets for each production. We have since then reduced that to 2 comp tickets each. The Crucible in February of 2025 had 925 people in attendance. Footloose had 2,069 people in attendance, which was in April. This season, that was the end of season 11, but it was in the calendar year of 2025. Season 12 began in August. And we did a Midsummer Night's Dream presented in the Bowl 3 nights, and we had 1,121 people in attendance. This show was offered free to the public as a community service. We had several students from local high school drama departments in the audiences, and we made sure they knew that it was free for them to come. Mousetrap was our September production. We had 950 people in attendance. At the moment, the Trial of Ebenezer Scrooge is in presentation, and we hope you all come this weekend. We will complete season 12 with the musical The Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder in February, and Pride and Prejudice in April. I'm excited about our whole season this year. We have yet to determine our 26-27 season, which will begin in August of 2026. We will have that in place by April, so we can announce it at Pride and Prejudice in both the playbill and at its performances. Players Guild is deeply grateful for the continued support that the city provides. The funding we receive helps cover essential upfront costs. A lot of people don't realize the cost of a production. Most of them run between about $15,000 to $30,000 to produce. In return, Players Guild contributes back to the city as per our contract, and through the revenue, which is more than what we receive, and through the volunteer hours that we give. As of October 31st, Players Guild has completed 272 hours of our 265 required, and we're still working. We had a fundraising goal outside of the city's support this last year of $10,000. We received a $5,500 private donation from a single patron, a Mr. Stephen Miller. We received $2,500 so far of our $4,500 grant from the Gwinnett Creativity Fund. As soon as that report is given to them, we receive the remaining $2,000. And from individuals, we received a total of $2,606.75. So we hit and went over our projected budget, or fundraising goal. Our financial status as of October 31st is assets $70,312.54, liabilities $70,312.54. In other areas of the arts, we try to do a lot in education. We provide opportunities for theater students, both college and high school, to design sets, costumes, and participate in running lights and sound for our performances. These opportunities are mandatory for community service, but also for the theater students, and we document them, everything they do for their curriculum vitae. In 2025, Evelyn Park, or Evie, is a Carnegie Mellon University BFA Drama and Design Production student. She designed our set for The Crucible. When she needed a summer internship, she contacted us, and we were able to provide an unpaid one, for which her college paid her after we provided documentation. During that, she designed both the sets for A Midsummer Night's Dream and for The Mousetrap. Maggie Park, her sister, is a Brunel student, Gainesville Theater Alliance, BFA costume design student, and she designed costumes for both Footloose and The Crucible. Abby McAdams is a local high school student. She's a theater student who has just been accepted to SCAD Atlanta, and she has done the costuming for The Trial of Ebenezer Scrooge. We're very pleased with the kids that are coming out, and we're raising up the next generation of both tech and actors. A new program we are considering, if logistics can be worked out with the theater scheduling, are some black box performances in the gallery for new scripts by local playwrights, one-act plays, and possibly a little experimental theater. None of that is set in stone, but it's something we'd like to explore, thus giving some local talent a chance to produce a play. Donations by Players Guild have included costumes and set pieces given to school drama departments, other nonprofit community theaters, and Goodwill. And I thank you. That's our report. Any questions?
Ms. Mulligan, thank you for coming up here tonight and sharing that. We are so grateful to have the Guild and all their amazing things that they've done through this past season and this upcoming season. Lots to look forward to, and I just hope that they continue to do great work and that you tap Mr. Perkle and Mr. Hicks. They are amazing players, and I hope that they will join you. So, whoops.
Those looks.
Yeah, they're excited.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go ahead and have our Children's Theater annual report as well. If our folks want to come up, our true children at heart, to give their amazing report as well.
Oh, thank you. I need that applause. Hello, everyone. Alvin, thank you so much for that prayer, because I'm as nervous as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs right now. I'm so versed at being on the stage, but making presentations like this is new to me. So I ask that you bear with me as I share our love, our passion, and our heart with you. Our season for the On the Stage Children's Theater from 2024 to 2025 included Something Rotten, Junior. We had 2 shows and 409 people attend. It was, however, a school break weekend, and it greatly affected the amount of kids we had in the show and the attendance. In December, we put up Annie Junior, and we had 44 kids in that show. We performed it 2 times, and we brought in 739 patrons in 2 shows. In February, for Descendants, we had 38 students. We did 3 shows, and we brought in 1,081 patrons. Now, this numbers I'm giving you, we are not counting the walk-ins, the buys at the door, because they're hard to track. So this is just what has gone through big tickets. For Lion King, we had 33 kids. We did 3 shows, and we had 910 in attendance. May, we did The Wizard of Oz, 28 children, 3 shows, 716 in attendance. Our summer camps. A Year with Frog and Toad, 23 children, 2 shows, 225. That was a rough week. Now, those 2 shows is one day. I just need to tell you that. Like, that was all on a Saturday. And usually our performances are on a Saturday and then maybe on a Sunday. But so the numbers you're hearing, most of these have brought in 1 to 2 days. For Hadestown, which was so gorgeous, 25 children, it brought in 527 patrons, and it should have brought in more. Absolutely should have brought in more. It looked just as gorgeous as the Broadway version looked. Then we did another Year with Frog and Toad. We had 30 kids and 254 patrons. Then we did A Year with Charlie Brown. You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. 34 kids, 2 shows, 344. Another You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, Broadway version. 33 kids, 319 in attendance. And then the staff of On the Stage Children's Theater decided that we were going to perform, and all the funds would go to our scholarship. And we brought in 265 people in 1 show. And it was glorious and very funny. The way that we are involved in the community, we are at Sugar Rush, where we have a booth, and usually, oh, there you are. I was hoping I would see your face. Hi, hello. Not that I didn't like your face, Josh. I mean, I love your face. I know, and I really think I know you, but I don't even know about that. So for Sugar Rush, we bring out a baby elephant. Have y'all seen our booth at Sugar Rush? You have? A baby elephant, a little mini baby elephant that the kids get to feed. And this year, when the kids fed Ellie, they were given a bookmark They were giving candy, and then we gave away 60 free tickets to our upcoming shows. The kids were over the moon to feed Ellie. I need to drink water. I told y'all I'm nervous. Trick or treat, I don't know if y'all saw us out there. We're the first ones ready, and we're the last ones to leave. We closed the place down. Why? Because we love children. Not because we love candy, but we love children. And I said to my people, I said, we are not leaving these streets as long as there are children walking by wanting candy. We also gave out bookmarks then, too. And then we perform at the holiday celebration. And we usually perform twice. And last year we did Annie, and this year we're doing Frozen. Isn't that exciting? To kind of like sum up our year, do y'all want to know what I paid you? Oh, never mind. Okay, day. So for our scholarships, we earned $3,315 in that one performance of You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. And all that money went right into our scholarship fund. But we gave away over $34,000 in scholarships. And that's not a one-time thing. I've done this since I've opened my doors in 2020. I've given away scholarships to any child who could not pay, because our philosophy is where everyone is welcome and no child has ever been turned away, not ever. And because of that, we have children from all walks of life, from every situation, from all abilities. They're a part of our theater. And I would not have it any other way, because that represents true life. Not everybody is like everybody else. And when children come to see a show, and maybe that child is sitting there, and they're on the autistic spectrum, and they don't know where they should go or what they should do. And they look up on that stage, and they see a child just like them. That is so beautiful. That is so beautiful. And that's what happens every time we get on that stage and we perform. That is what happens. We just closed Beetlejuice. If you missed it, I'm sorry. You should have been there, because it looked like Broadway. And I'm not lying. If you come see one of my shows, you'll see what I'm saying. I say what it is, and that is the way it looks and feels. And it's every child from all walks of life. We turn no one away. And here's the thing. Yes, we audition, but everybody gets a part. So no one feels left out. No one. Nobody feels left out. Here are some things that are in my heart. Oh, I have to tell you something else. OTSET is providing 18 jobs right here in Sugar Hill. 18. We're a young baby company, and we're doing that. We are hiring industry professionals to work with these children. During the summer, we had 23. We have a pipeline coming straight to us from Bernal University. That's where I went to school. That's where my daughter Bethany went to school. And we have kids from working with us from Bernal, from SCAD, and Kennesaw State. These kids are getting very well educated. I'm almost done. But I want to tell you a couple of things that's in my heart, because if I did not do that, then I would have wasted this moment, and I don't like to waste moments. I think life is too precious and too special to not take the time to speak when you are given the opportunity to speak. I just need another drink of water. We are bringing 500 students from Buford to see our upcoming production of The Outsiders. I would have loved those 500 students coming from Sugar Hill. I would have loved that. I am trying to get in touch with someone at Sugar Hill. We've tried a couple different times in the schools because I want them to come see Charlotte's Web. We have set aside 2 days for daytime performances, and I'm struggling to get in those schools. So if anybody has a contact that can help me, please. And we take the tickets to $5 for the students. Our student tickets are $10. Our highest ticket is $15 for adults. And we're putting on 2-hour Broadway shows, but $15. And you're probably sitting there going, why? Why $15, Renee? When up the road in Swanee, they're charging $25 for a junior show. And I'm charging $10 and $15 because not only is it our mission to make the fine arts available for every child that wants to be on our stage, but it is also our mission for everyone in this community to attend a fine arts event and it not break the bank. And that's why I keep my ticket prices so low. Y'all ready? We are going to incorporate a program into On the Stage Children's Theater that I developed when I was at Brenau University called SIT, Social Interaction Theater. And what this is it teaches children on the autism spectrum social skills, life skills in the form of theater. My daughter and I piloted this after I developed it for 3 years, highly successful. And it's time to bring it back. It's time for it to be back a part of what we are doing. That's the first thing. The second thing is I want to incorporate sensory-friendly performances. I would love to be able to bring in the children who struggle with the loud noises, the bright lights. I would love to have sensory-friendly performances for them where they can come up and they can sit on the stage with their mom or their big brother or whomever makes them feel safe, and they can be immersed into live theater. That is in my heart. And then I want to introduce something that you guys have probably seen, and it's called Table Talk. And it's on Netflix, and it's called Love on the Spectrum. And it's time Sugar Hill had a chapter, and I want to start that. Are y'all familiar with it? Yeah? Okie dokie. The other thing we want to do, one last thing, I promise. The other thing we want to do is go into our schools right here in Sugar Hill and help them learn the art of theater. Swanee Elementary has reached out to us and asked us to create a theater program in their school. We want to go into the Sugar Hill schools and do that for them. And I would love, love, love nothing more than if y'all have a contact and know who I should speak with, please let me know so we can make this happen. In closing, more. It's this new medicine I'm on. It's giving me dry mouth. I want to thank you. I want to thank all of you from the bottom of my heart, because you are helping making my dreams come true. And you are making the dreams of so many children come true. And we could not do this if you were not supporting us the way that you are by letting us use that theater. We love that theater like there's no tomorrow, and we are as proud as punch that we get to call it home. And our children are so proud. And when they're in there, I promise you, I make them behave. They know how to behave in that theater because I have taught them how to behave. So thank you for letting me have this moment. You'll probably never ask me back. But since I don't know you, and I mean, I now know Josh and Paul, and I know Brandon, and I know Alvin, and I don't know if I know you or not. Okay, well, I'll get to know you all soon. Please come see one of our shows. You won't regret it. Frozen's coming up, and then we've got The Outsiders, and I'm having original music written for that show. I've hired a fight stunt coordinator who works in the movies to teach our kids how to fight. So when you come see that show, you better believe it's gonna look real. Okie day? And then for Charlotte's Web, we're gonna put a little band on the stage. And these kids are gonna learn how to square dance, how to buck dance, if I've got anybody in here that knows that old dance. Nobody? Well, now you really gotta come, because now you're all wondering what buck dancing is. Anyway, thank you very much. I hope I've been able to make your evening a little bit brighter. And I hope you have learned a little bit more about On the Stage Children's Theater. And would anybody have any questions?
I'll say a couple of things on my heart about On the Stage Children's Theater. I think it's one of the better partnerships that we have with the city. I try to make it to most plays, as you know. I did go to Beetlejuice. It was exceptional.
Thank you.
Everything that I've ever been to is exceptional. The thing that I think is so meaningful to me, though, is the kids that may have no fine arts background at all that get involved in On the Stage Children's Theater, but that discover a passion
Yes.
for theater. Collier Rosal is just one example of many kids that I know that start out shy, start to do theater, and they just transform.
Yes.
And that is amazing, and it's a testament to all the great work that you do. I hear you about the schools. Councilmember Hicks and I have a great partnership with the Lanier Cluster, and we can absolutely make that connection for you. think
I
that
would
be
love
interesting.
that. And you know, we're supposed to go to lunch.
So that's great. I'm going to leave that up to you and Mr. Hicks.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am, I got you.
But are there any questions of Ms. Hannah or comments? Mr. Page?
Ms. Renee, I just thank you for being here in our community, and thank you for being a small business owner and just loving our community. So we appreciate you, and thank you for being here tonight.
Oh, you are so welcome. And I forgot to tell you that we're also doing Judy B. Jones and Legally Blonde.
I think Ms. Avery might want to say something as well, if you
I
don't mind.
I want to say thank you, and how I absolutely love your enthusiasm and your passion
Thank
for
you.
the children and the theater, and how lucky they are to have you. Just from listening to you tonight, I can tell it's a blessing all around. And
Well, thank you very much. I am the one who's blessed. Trust me on that.
All right, anybody else? Miss Mulligan, did you go before Miss Hannah? You did? Okay. I'll say one more positive thing. We obviously have two great guilds that work in our community. Many of you may not be familiar with this statistic, but within Lanier Middle School alone, over 80% of the students are involved in one fine arts program or more. And that is, you cannot compare that to anywhere in Gwinnett County and really in Metro Atlanta. And we have a growing reputation in Sugar Hill for the fine arts. And it's because of you two, it's because of the fact that we have the Eagle Theater, it's because of the fact that we have strong relationships with our schools and we're able to be compatible with each other. And so, again, thank y'all for the exceptional work.
You're
that
very
you do.
welcome.
Yep.
Thank you all for listening to me, and I'm so sorry about the dry mouth.
Did you drink that whole bottle of water while you were there?
Yes, I told you I was as nervous as I could be.
It's okay.
Did you not tell?
You did a great job.
Well, anywho, it doesn't matter, but yes, I drank it all.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, we are now going to move on to our reports, and I'll start with our city attorney, Mr. Hartley.
Thank you, Mayor. I have no report.
We'll next move on to our council reports, and I'm going to start with Mr. Page tonight.
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. Just want to say thank you to our city staff. We've had a very eventful kind of calendar since our last council meeting. Lots of great things happening in the city, and we have a very full calendar coming up between now and the end of the year. So lots going on. Hopefully you come out to our wonderful Sweet City events and just participate and enjoy our city, enjoy the holiday lights, and just be here as a community. And of course, want to thank the community for also coming out and having a fantastic voter turnout, a record number. So it is always great to have more and more participation. So with that, Mayor, I'll end my report.
Thank you, Mr. Page. Miss Avery, you're up next.
Thank you, Mayor. I have no report tonight.
All right, Mr. Anderson.
Thank you, Mayor. And Ms. Renee, I would nominate you to come back. I think she took off, but I would nominate her to come back and actually read the city manager's report monthly. If she, just have her come back and do that, if that'd be all right. That's right. I do want to congratulate Councilmember Hicks and Mayor Hembry on their reelection, and of course, Councilmember-elect Piovison, who will take office in January, and appreciate the winners were, as the mayor said, the winners were the city of Sugar Hill for the turnout, the record turnout that we had, even though I know that we can do better in the future, but it was great to see the large number of voters come out this November, well, October and November, and support their candidate of choice, and so we certainly appreciate that, and I offer my congratulations, and looking forward to the next 4 years for the both of you being up on the dais and serving our community. I wanted to congratulate our city manager, Paul Radford, who took home the Redevelopment Champion of the Year Award from the Metro Atlanta Redevelopment Summit last week. That has gone to several, people from all over the metro area over the years that they presented that award. And I can't think of anybody more deserving than our city manager for all the work that he's done for our city in advancing our redevelopment efforts in our downtown. Finally, just want to say we are in the season of Thanksgiving here in November, and I am thankful. I think we heard tonight from two of the many folks that do work in our community, do great work in our community, and there are just two of many, many examples of the great work that we do, or that they do in our community every day. And so I want to say thank you to you from the North Gwinnett Co-op, who I know is in a situation, given the needs of the many folks as a result of the government shutdown and many other things. They do such a wonderful job, and there are so many things that we have to be thankful for in our community. And so with that, Mayor, that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Anderson. Mr. Hicks, you're up next.
Thanks, Mayor, and thanks, Taylor. I just want to first give thanks to all that served in one of our branches of service as we will recognize those with Veterans Day. So I want to thank you for your service and your time and your all that you've done for our country. I want to thank all of the city staff for what they're doing, from the city, from the leads all the way to, to the employees that are performing the day-to-day functions. So super grateful for all of you and what you're doing, and congratulations, Paul, to you on such an amazing accomplishment, but for an amazing person, so an amazing leader. So thank you for that. And lastly, I just want to thank Mr. Carl Siegley. Great job, great efforts, great human being. So I just want to thank you for, the past month, and I know you'll continue to keep being an instrumental role in the community. So just wanted to personally thank you on record. That's all, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Hicks. Mr. Perkle.
Thank you, Mayor. No report.
And I'll give just a quick mayor's report, and I apologize for being late. Thank you to Mr. Page for starting the meeting. I was on official city business. I was actually driving a 95-year-old veteran from a speaking engagement that he had. And if you've not met Mr. Charles Vincent that lives at Holbrook Assisted Living, he's an amazing individual. He served as a Marine during the Korean War and served in the Army during Vietnam. Spent a long life in the military, flew 67 missions over Korea when he was in the Marines, and he's an amazing speaker as well. You have the opportunity to meet him tomorrow. He's actually coming to our Veterans Day ceremony, which starts around 10:15 from a music standpoint. The official ceremony starts at 11, and then at 3:30, Holbrook is having a special Veterans Day celebration just down the street from here, and Mr. Vincent is going to be the keynote speaker for that celebration. And hope you'll come out and take advantage of all the things that we have going on for Veterans Day. There's also a Veterans Day ceremony that I'm going to be going to at Lanier Middle School at 8 a.m., and the public's welcome to that as well. This is a tradition that they've done for a long time as well. But appreciate everybody again for just letting me be a little bit late today. I'm now going to move to the city clerk's report. Ms. Whittington.
Thank you, Mayor. The November 4th, 2025 general election was certified today as required by state law. And the results of the election, 262 ballots were cast, 1,043 for earlier advance voting, 1,016 on election day, 2 absentee ballots were counted, and 1 provisional out of the 4 that were cast was counted as well. That all made up the 262 votes. In the mayor's race, Brandon Hembry, the incumbent, received 1,467 votes, and Amber Chambers, 569. In the city council, post 4, Alvin Hicks, the incumbent, received 1,400 votes, and Carl Siegel received 637. And post 5, Samantha Pavison received 1,191 votes, and Kaylee Weiland received 780. And this was sent to the Secretary of State's office in Gwinnett County as a close of business today. Also, in the city, processed 138 passports and 14 new businesses in the month of October as well. Our election results, passport appointments, business license renewal, or any of the paperwork is on the city website. So if you need to view any of them or download them, please visit our website for the materials.
Ms. Whittington, if you don't mind, would you clarify the total number of votes? I think it was 2,063. Was that correct?
2,062 ballots
62. Okay, we got it. Thank you.
for the total. And the city hall will be closed in the city offices tomorrow for Veterans Day. They will also be closed on November 26th and 27th for Thanksgiving. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Whittington. Next, we'll move on to our city manager's report. Mr. Radford?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to ask Andy McQuaig, who leads our recreation department and put together a really great staff that love all of our parks, including our downtown park, which is, you can see, is going through a transition from Halloween to the holiday season. So, Andy?
Thank you, Mr. Radford. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Welcome to this very cold November. As we went from fall, we went directly into winter pretty quick. What's nice about that is the ice rink right behind you is going to form some ice this week and open up on Friday. It will be open till mid-February, and that'll be our nice wintertime activity here in the downtown area. You'll see, if you have seen already, that downtown has transferred from fall to winter with the holiday decorations that are ongoing. There are a few more that still need to go up. As those come in, they will be a part of our program as well over the summer. So over the winter, excuse me. Tonight is another great night to be over at the East Center. We got about 40 or 50 young children playing basketball, as well as a party inside the waterfall room. So as that trend continues, every night you're over there, there's something exciting going on at the East Center and bringing people to our downtown. The golf course had a great month of October. Unfortunately, the last week kind of rained us out a little bit, which put us down just a hair, but in general, a great month. And thank you guys for the support, the project for the irrigation, the new irrigation hub. On the front 9 area is going well. Demolition of the building occurred. Construction is getting ready to occur, and the new pump station will be installed directly after that, which that will be completed by the end of this year. As well, Ridge Lake Park, as we all know, has a new playground programmed for it. We have a pre-construction meeting this Thursday. As soon as the order is shipped, which I believe would be the first week of December, construction will begin, and that project as well is supposed to be completed by the end of the year. Until we meet again in December, that would be my report for tonight. Unless you guys have some questions, I hope you have a great evening.
Thank you, Mr. McQuaig. Any questions? All right. Mr. Radford, please continue.
Thank you, Andy. And in your monthly review from the Office of City Manager, you can see that there are now over 24,300 members of the East Center. They're not all there every day, but it's a fairly significant number of people who have taken the effort to have their photo taken, have a card, and pay for the card. I think it's $10 for the cost for city residents. And it's another great asset similar to the Eagle Theater. So with that, I'm going to ask Assistant City Manager Troy Basesh to give us a construction and operations update, and then I will wrap it up just with a couple comments.
Thank you, Mr. Radford. As the presentation is coming up, I will just simply provide a reference to the monthly public project construction report, which is on the website. And you'll be able to find all the information you would like about projects that I may not mention tonight. So here's a link to it if you want to snap a photo of that, or you can navigate your way on the city's website. One of the larger projects for the city in 2025 is the Highway 20 Greenway Bridge project. The contractor has constructed the 4 bents on the south side, and you see in this photo from last week, they were forming up the bent cap for the, I believe it's the second of the bents that will support the beams, which will support the Greenway ramps. And then the other photo here in a moment will show you what it looks like looking to the north, and the 3 steel piles in the foreground will form the point at which the ramps will land, and this is about where the driveway to the East Center begins. So it's a significant portion of work has been completed, and then we are working and waiting on AT&T to finish up on the north side. They are actively working on their relocation, and then once the poles come down, our contractor can mobilize on the north side, do the same construction activity with these bents on that side. So Still a good bit of work to go, but we are seeing some vertical construction go on. You'll see, kind of hard to see in this photo, but they are bricking up these bents, so there's a brick finish that goes on the outside of these. So it'll be a nice architectural finish once you get a little bit further along here. One of the other significant projects in Sugar Hill, not a city project, but is the highway widening of Highway 20. And this widens the 4-lane highway to 6 lanes from Buford Highway to the east side of Sugar Hill all the way to Peachtree Industrial. What you see in this image are the bridge bents that will support the expansion of the bridge over the railroad, and this will allow for the additional lanes and direction to be constructed, and then also the Greenway Trail, which will be on the right side of this image, and allow a connection from the east side of Sugar Hill into the downtown. A smaller project, but an important one to our community, is our cemetery fence improvements. We completed the columns and the brickwork on the columns end of last week, with some repairs to the fence around the distillery, old community center, and then that has also been stained, so that has a uniform appearance. The ornamental aluminum pickets have not been shipped yet, so we don't have them. As soon as they get here, we'll be installing those and completing that connection. There is a short section of chain link, black vinyl coated chain link, that will construct in the wooded sections, but it'll look decorative and fitting and suitable. There were a couple of funerals last week I noticed are coming up, so it is still an important place to the community, and one that we want to continue to invest in as a downtown property. Andy's already mentioned the Ridge Lake Park Playground. We are working on future improvements for 2026. We've got a plan in place for parking expansion and some other additions that we'll talk about a little bit more in December when we present the budget. But here's an image of what the new playground is going to look like with the additional play equipment. The recently completed sidewalk project on Peachtree Industrial Boulevard is an important part of our pedestrian infrastructure. It was part of a bigger project to connect some gaps in our sidewalk program up to Spring Hill, all the way down to Pinecrest. And then we connected a segment on Spring Hill, which gets up close to the school. So that is substantially complete, and we'll be closing that project out in November. We do have a future road repair program that is planned for 2026. So these 14 streets and the 3 neighborhoods that are listed here are a part of that program. We'll be putting together bid documents for that in the upcoming weeks. Provide more information in the coming months. With that, that will conclude my report.
Well, thank you, Troy. One of the other groups that we're blessed to have a relationship with is the Broad Street Concert Band that performs at a number of our activities throughout the year. They'll be performing tomorrow at the Veterans Day ceremony. They do it at Memorial Day. They do it at Sugar Rush. They do it at the Holiday Festival, and they provide a number of free concerts in the Eagle. And they're very, very talented people. A lot of them live in Sugar Hill, and we're blessed with that. I'd be remiss if I didn't remind everybody that on the 29th, they'll be performing in the Eagle, and it's their Toys for Tots Christmas concert. We encourage those who love fine music and is to come with a toy and enjoy the free concert and the participation of their fellow residents and citizens of Sugar Hill. I'd also be remiss if I don't remind you that on Friday, the 28th, John Barry will be performing in the Eagle. And next year is his 30th anniversary of his Christmas concert, and he's excited to start it here again next year. But John Barry puts on a great concert for his hits, Christian music, as well as his fantastic voice singing Christmas songs. So I encourage you, if you haven't got your ticket, to get it. The Eagle, John Barry's Christmas concert and Christmas and Hits, or Hits and Christmas, something like that. And with that, I want to thank those kind remarks about the Metro Atlanta Redevelopment Summit Award. I forget the name of the award. And it is a testament to, I think, a lot of people who have served up here over the years, who believed in a mission and invested in that mission, and have helped, I think, create a beautiful place that brings people together. And that's what I'm most proud of, being part of that team. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Radford. And next and last is the Youth Council for their report. Hello, Miss Violet. Good to see you.
Hi, good to see you. We've kind of been a little bit everywhere. We had trick or treat on West Broad Street, and we had a lot of fun with that, interacting with the youth of our city, and also raising a little bit more awareness about who we are and what we do. We've also been working towards having more of a social media presence, so we can kind of let the teens of our city and all that kind of stuff know what's going on with our city. So we kind of do recaps of what's happening in these meetings and put them in more colloquial terms, shorter reels, things that people are going to look at, so that they're kind of keeping up with what's going on, even if they're not showing up to these meetings. In addition, we're looking forward to volunteering at the North Connect Co-op this coming Monday, not this Monday, next Monday. And we're starting to plan for our holiday celebration booth, which we're super excited about again. And we're looking forward to working on some public speaking exercises at our next meeting. Thank you.
All right, next we'll move on to citizens and guest comments. And this is an opportunity for anybody in the audience to have up to 3 minutes to speak about anything related to Sugar Hill that's on their mind. I will encourage you, if you're here for a particular item that we're going to have a public hearing on, to save your comments when we get to those items later on in the agenda. Is there anybody that would like to take advantage of this time to come up and speak? All right, I see nobody, so we will close out. I'm sorry. Yes, sir, please give us your name and address for the record. And just for clarification, are you here to speak on just something, a matter other than a public hearing item, or?
No, sir, I'm here to speak on open public comment.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry, I
Great.
submitted a comment card, but was expecting to be
No
called.
worries, you just took a moment to get up and I wasn't sure, just wanted to make sure. You're welcome, thank you.
Yes, thank you. My address is 4267 Buford Highway. My name is Peter Friedrich. Good evening. Sugar Hill built a downtown from nothing. City Hall, the Bowl, the Eagle Theater, E-Center, $46 million and more investment that created the gathering place that residents wanted. Strategic, disciplined, local control. 18,000 gym members at the E-Center. Hundreds of millions of dollars more in private development following for the city as businesses are flocking here. You created a sense of place through limited, strategic government action. Senate Bill 375 represents the opposite, a vague mandate, unlimited liability, and no definition. SB 375 will require that Sugar Hill investigate Hindu phobia, defined as antagonistic attitudes towards Hinduism. Never defines Hinduism, never defines Hindu, never defines antagonistic attitudes. And so, Sugar Hill government determines religious doctrines. 1 in 4 Sugar Hill residents is foreign-born. Professionals working from home, commuting to Atlanta, running small businesses. They discuss global politics. They have opinions about foreign governments. Under SB 375, those discussions trigger investigations. Imagine A Sugar Hill employee has family in India. At work, they discuss Hindu nationalist persecution of Indian Christians with colleagues. Someone files a Hindu phobia complaint claiming that discussion shows antagonistic attitudes towards Hinduism. Your HR must investigate whether discussing a foreign government's policies constitutes religious bigotry. Investigation costs staff time, legal fees, liability exposure, regardless of outcome. Religious discrimination law already works. Did someone get fired, harassed, denied opportunity because of their religion? Clear, enforceable, protects actual people. SB 375, however, protects undefined ideology. It stigmatizes, potentially criminalizes criticism of foreign governments. When you developed downtown, you made clear decisions with defined outcomes. That is proper government. SB 375, Atlanta mandates investigations with no standards, complaints you cannot dismiss using objective criteria, state overreach dressed as civil rights protection. State Senator Sean Still admits that this bill, his bill, came from conversations with Kona and Hindu PAC of Georgia, which funded him generously before he introduced SB 375. Multiple donors to that PAC are activists with Overseas Friends of the BJP, a registered foreign agent for India's ruling party. You spent $46 million creating downtown through strategic investment and disciplined local control. SB 375 hands you unlimited liability for enforcing undefined religious standards. That's not Sugar Hill's model. Your approach works because government stays focused, defined, limited. Pass a resolution, tell Atlanta Sugar Hill built downtown through disciplined local control. You don't enforce vague state mandates requiring you to adjudicate religious doctrines. You created a sense of place. Do not let Atlanta force you to police it or your residents' attitudes. Reject SB 375. And I have for every member of the council an information packet on this issue. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your comments, sir. Is there anybody else that would like to take advantage of this time? Yes, sir. And you have up to 3 minutes as well.
Oh, I do? Okay. Thank you, yeah. My name is Angelo Ifelis, and my address is 404 Wedmore Court, Suwanee, Georgia. And this is my first time here at a Sugar Hill City Council meeting, so thank you for having me here. And I remember Sugar Hill being a small country town when I moved here in 2007, and I've watched it grow with those new apartments that are right across the street in 2016. And just walking around, I love the progress in infrastructure and just seeing a new police force come up, the Sugar Hill Marshals, and I've talked to them, and they're very professional, and I respect their public safety and their job to protect me and everybody else. And Sugar Hill is, you know, I call it home, and it's my favorite place to live in. So, and I would love to see Level Creek Road paved, because there's some potholes while driving over it all the way down to North Gwinnett High School, and restriped, and no other questions or comments, and thank you for having me here. So,
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your comments. Is there anybody else that wishes to take advantage of this time? Okay, I don't see anybody, so we will move on. We have no consent agenda, but we do have an old business item, and I'll recognize our planning director or the office to talk about it. And I think we're maybe kind of wanting to understand what the status of it is.
Yes, for AX 25-002, staff did receive an official notice from the applicant to withdraw without prejudice. We're going to go back to the drawing board, take all the comments into consideration, and he'll seek to potentially apply at a later date with a completely revised project. So.
All right, thank you for the update. I think that's what we were expecting. Is there a motion to withdraw without prejudice?
Mayor, I will make a motion to accept the applicant's withdrawal without prejudice.
I have a motion from Mr. Anderson. Is there a second?
I would like to make a second to Mr. Anderson's motion.
All right, I have a second from Mr. Page. Any discussion before I call the vote? All right, all those in favor of withdrawing without prejudice, please raise your right hand. All right, thank you. Next, we'll move on to new business, and we have 5 public hearings that we're going to need to have. So let's get started on item number 2. Planning Director as well, or staff.
Yes, it'll be me for most of them, and then Jennifer will come up for the chicken ordinance. So, all right, AX 25-003. This is 5942 Cumming Highway. It is a .96 acre parcel currently zoned R100 residential in the county. They are requesting to come in under the BG general business zoning. Planning Commission recommended approval of this item 4-0. You can see the location here along Highway 20. This aerial is a couple months out of date, but these 2 parcels right here are already in the city. They have been developed with a Chipotle and currently under construction a Fifth Third Bank on this property. You can see the surrounding zoning, predominantly business zonings within the city, adjacent to some business zonings in the county as well. A question was raised at the work session as to the access to the property, as they're not proposing a turn lane into Highway 20. There is already a signed access agreement with the adjacent property owner, the Fifth Third Bank. That was already kind of predetermined when they were going through their whole process. So we do have that on record. This is just a good zoomed-in shot of where that'll tie in. Their site work has been substantially completed, so this stub is already in place. This is the site overall, just zoomed in a little bit. It's missing the back tip, but there's not proposed to be anything back there. Likely will be undisturbed area based on some information in this plan. 23 stacking spaces for a 7 Brew coffee shop. No indoor seating associated with this particular restaurant, so everybody will be in the car, order, get in, get out. We've got a couple sample renderings of this project. These have been revised since they initially applied. These are fairly closely in line with our current architectural requirements. We'd still give it the full review treatment when they come in for permitting, but at a first glance, it looks to meet those requirements. So staff is recommending approval of the annexation and rezoning to BG, just with one condition, that it substantially conform to the site plan Exhibit 1. And I can take any questions.
All right, thank you. Any questions of staff before? Yes, Mr. Perkle.
Thank you, Mayor. Can you go back to the site layout there? Where's the detention structure that's on there? Is there a detention pond? Is it underground? I didn't see from that illustration where the water is being controlled.
They didn't say specifically on this particular application. That's not always 100% worked out at this stage. I'm not an engineer, but given the size of the property and what I've seen in the past, more than likely is going to be an underground detention system. But I can let the applicant fully answer that.
Okay, and the reason I bring that up is because we talked at the work session about that rear triangular portion. If it was not going to be used for detention there, that we might want some sort of enhanced buffer there, just to screen the homeowner a bit. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Perkle. Any other questions before I open up the public hearing? All right, then we'll move on to the public hearing portion of this application, and we do 10 minutes for those that wish to come up and speak in support of, which is typically the applicant, and then we'll do 10 minutes for those individuals that might be opposed or might like to express concern about the application. And Mr. Hartley and Ms. Whittington, they help me keep time. And so I'm assuming you're the applicant. And
That's correct.
I want to say welcome. Just please give your name and address for the record, and then you're welcome to get started.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Thank you for having me. My name is Baxter Russell. I'm a land use and zoning attorney with the law firm of Dillard Sellers in Atlanta, Georgia, 1776 Peachtree Street, Atlanta, 30309. I've got a card filled out as well. I'm happy to submit. It's a pleasure to be here with you this evening on this cold, frigid night, to be here on behalf of my client, the applicant in this matter, Rocket Brew, Inc., requesting your approval of our annexation into this great city and our rezoning to BG zoning district. Rocket Brew, just to be clear, is a franchisee of Seven Brew Coffee Shops. Seven Brew Coffee Shops is a dynamic coffee company offering quality beverages together with engaging customer service. Rocket Brew is expanding the Seven Brew reach throughout the metro area, and my client hopes to bring a new coffee shop, again, to the great city of Sugar Hill. Joining me tonight, we do have Mr. Max Pontrelli, the Chief Operating Officer of Rocket Brew, Inc. We're both available for any questions that you may have after this presentation. So again, it's my honor to present to you tonight. I've got a brief overview, and then again, of course, available for any questions. I would reserve any remaining time for any necessary rebuttal. If we can go to the next slide, please. Thank you. That's perfect. So I want to start just with an overview of the property location and consider the compatibility of our proposed use for this property, because where we're located and where we seek to, the property we seek to develop our site on, or our new location on, is just based on the fundamental idea that we are compatible with the uses on adjacent properties and in the surrounding area. Again, this is approximately a 1-acre site located off of Highway 20 near the intersection of Swanee Dam Road. It's a small wedge piece of property currently located in Gwinnett County, and we sit between county commercial property and city commercial property. So adjacent to us is an existing and currently now developing nice commercial center in the city that connects to our site through interparcel access. So you have a self-storage development, a Zaxby's, a Chipotle, and the Fifth Third Bank. And we feel that our use complements those uses as kind of the end of that commercial development. There's not really the opportunity to continue the development to the east of us onto that county commercial property. It's a developed and establishing auto use, and the topography wouldn't really make sense to continue that way. So it would, our site and our use and our property would work very well there, and allow the development of a very isolated, undeveloped parcel. Highlight a few features of what we're proposing, and again, I've got these slides up, but just to make the point, that yellow triangle that I've highlighted and created there, as was highlighted by staff, it's developed since this aerial was taken, but that's really that commercial center strip that I'm talking about, with the blue circle being our site today. Go to the next slide, please. We're, I think, an advantage of what we're proposing, in addition to just being a complementary commercial use, a new business in the city, is really traffic control. So we would not have an independent curb cut onto the highway. I certainly understand that's a very busy area, but we would use that interparcel access, allowing customers to access either through the light there directly at the Zaxby's, or the Fifth Third Bank, which does have a right in, right out. Considering the traffic that accompanies our use, we are really what's called a pass-by traffic operator. So we are not a destination use like the Kroger across the street, where customers leave their homes targeting to go to our use type. Based on the traffic that we've submitted with our application, 94% of people that use our services or buy our products occur as pass-by traffic, meaning that they're coming through. Now, maybe that they are coming to, certainly hope they're coming to us purposefully, but not a destination or not a traffic generator. If we can go to the next slide for the site plan, thank you. And the next one, that's just a zoomed out version. We may toggle between those. Thank you very much. Some features of our site plan. Our business model is based on fast service and small buildings. It's a very efficient business. So our building size, the primary building where we craft our beverages, is 510 square feet. And then we have 250 square feet at the rear of our main building that's storage space, a cooler with dry storage as well. There is no order box or squawk box, however you want to call that. Our orders, the orders from our customers are taken directly onto an iPad from team members. So there's not a concern with noise coming from a box the way some drive-through services would have. It's really like the current modern Chick-fil-A model where they're standing there and take your order directly. We do the same thing. And I think that's really an advantage of the service that we offer, but then of course the noise generated by our site. Our hours of operation, Sunday through Thursday. As a coffee stand, we open at 5:30 a.m. Because we offer a variety of different beverages, including sweeter ones. We're open till 10 p.m. on Sunday through Thursday, and then on the weekends we're just open an extra hour till 11. Despite the small size of our lot, again, less than an acre, we're not requesting any variances. I think that's an advantage, again, of our building size, able to use this property and not require a larger building that's going to disturb more of the site and encroach into setbacks, cause issues with our impervious surface. We have appropriate parking for customers as well as employees. You can flip through, you've seen some of the new renderings that we submitted. Again, these were revised after our initial submission to comply with the city's regulations, and we're proud of these and feel that would be a very attractive quality building that we're providing. Before I close my preliminary comments, I do just want to touch on a few questions that, while I didn't have the opportunity to attend the work session in person, my law partner was able to attend and relayed them to me. So yes, we do have an access agreement in place that allows us to use that interparcel access that's so important and valuable to our site. That's a recorded agreement. We've given a copy to staff as well, and I have a copy for you if you would like one. On the stormwater detention, we will have underground stormwater management and detention. On the site plan, it's the gray box that's underneath our stacking lanes, so it's kind of on our western property line there. As far as any concerns to impact to neighbors, as I've said, I think not having a speaker box is a big component of that. But also, this is not a site that's going to be just completely clear-cut. Because there is a very small portion, approximately 50 feet, that is close to that existing neighborhood at the rear, we do have a buffer requirement, an undisturbed buffer requirement that we have to keep that way and want to keep that way. And of course, when you consider the shape of this property, that it really narrows, there's a very limited area of our property that actually is close to that neighborhood. I think any concerns that those neighbors may have may be from the much larger bank property that's next to us that has much larger property lines that almost go into the cul-de-sac. So again, I think this is a really great project for this kind of unique piece of property. We hope to be able to bring it into the city. We're proud of the product that we presented. We appreciate the recommendation of approval by staff as well as the recommendation from Planning Commission, and would just respectfully request that you approve our application as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions of the applicant? All right, no questions? How much time do we have left in this category, Mr. Hartley? All right, perfect. And we will, first I'm going to ask if there's anybody else that would like to come up and speak in support or favor of the application. All right, I see nobody, so we will reserve the 2 minutes and 30-something seconds for rebuttal. And we'll move into the 10 minutes for those that might like to speak in opposition to or express concern about the application. Would anybody like to take advantage of that time? All right, I see nobody, so we will close out that time. Anything else that you would like to say? Okay. Mr. Perkle, sorry.
Just one question for our planning staff. So since it is a change from BG, which this, or yeah, I think it's BG in the front, to the residential in the back, well, do you know what the depth of that buffer is? I'm trying to determine if we need to add that as a condition or if the existing requirements due to the zoning would cover what we need there.
Yeah, let me get back to the, here. So the way, it doesn't show up on here, but the way our buffers are applied, it would be a 75-foot buffer typically between the R100 and BG. The shape of the property basically means this small corner at the very, very back.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't show it on the site plan, but we did reference in the staff report that that would need to be shown on the site plan, but it would have zero bearing on the site of, design of the site as it is. But it would be required.
You said 75 feet though?
It would typically be 75 feet. In this case, the way it's shaped, it's much less.
All right, and what is it?
Yeah.
I think he referenced 50 feet from, sounded like the back of the dumpster pad to the end of the lot.
Pull up this picture here. So the only place that undisturbed buffer would actually be applicable is basically from this dot to here, small back corner.
So how far is that from the property line to the back? From that pin that you were just on to the back, from there?
From there to the
No,
back.
the other way. The other way. How far is
the other
that?
way.
Trying to determine if that's enough or not.
I don't have a measurement on me, but eyeballing it, if this is 10 feet,
Okay, so
that's
less than
probably
10
a
feet.
30-foot line right there.
Okay, I think I'd like that enhanced, or to be a larger area. That's only come and a half. Thank you.
All right, any other questions before I ask if there is a motion? Yes, Mr. Anderson.
I would just consider two additional conditions if council is looking at this favorably. One would be to address Mr. Perkle's concern, is just draw a 50-foot radius off that rear point in the back and then have an undisturbed buffer with the exception of the sanitary sewer utility, which is in the rear, accessing that through that. So I would just suggest maybe a 50-foot radial buffer off that back point, undisturbed buffer with the exception of entry for sanitary sewer utility. And then the other one, as the applicant mentioned, would be to prohibit any outdoor speakers on the property as well. Those would be the two conditions that I would suggest to add to this, should council look at it favorably.
All right, any other comments or questions?
Just one thing, you specifically said sanitary sewer, but I'm guessing the storm water outlet from their collection point is probably going to the rear to that creek as well. So you may want to include that in addition to sanitary.
All right, is there a motion? Please do.
Give me 1 second here, and I will make that motion. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve AX 25003 with the one staff recommended condition plus two more conditions. The second condition being prohibiting outdoor speakers on the property, and a third condition of an undisturbed or enhanced buffer on a 50-foot radius off the back point, excluding utility encroachments necessary for construction.
All right, I have a motion from Mr. Anderson that I cannot repeat because it's...
Second.
But I do have a second from Mr. Perkle. Is there any discussion before I call for a vote? All right, all those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. All right, thank you, Mr. Anderson. Thank you, Mr. Perkle. All right, next we'll move on to item number 3.
Yes, this is our other annexation for the evening, AX 25-004, located at 6318 Swanee Dam Road. Planning Commission recommended a denial of this project with a 3-to-1 vote. This is a 10.16 acre parcel currently located in the county zoned R100. The applicant is requesting to come into the city under a RS100 zoning with a conservation subdivision district overlay on top of that. You can see the location here along Swanee Dam Road, pretty largely built up with subdivisions surrounding. You can see the variety of zonings. The zoning across the street in the Barrington Estates neighborhoods, plural, is identical zoning to this request. You've got some larger lots over here, and then a couple other in the county that are a similar style of conservation type neighborhood. This O&I parcel, collection of parcels being the Lanier Middle School and White Oak Elementary. The applicant is requesting 34 lots on this property with the conservation subdivision district overlay that allows for essentially smaller lots in exchange for a greater retention of green space on the property. Primarily undisturbed green space. I believe the ratio is 90% undisturbed, 10% open space, which they are meeting. Staff is recommending approval of this annexation and rezoning with a number of conditions. Most of these are fairly standard that we recommend for subdivisions, particularly coming into the city. Just a couple ones to note. No more than 20% of the total number of dwelling units shall be leased. A couple landscaping enhancement conditions, just to ensure that the open space is a little more than just a grass area, potentially having landscaping, benches, gazebos, some sort of combination that works. We'll take a look at it, work with the applicant to make sure it works for the community. A couple architectural requirements that aren't typically found in our zoning ordinance. And also with this request, we are recommending approval of a special use permit to allow for a slightly smaller lot, a 50-foot wide lot, and as well as a reduction in the enhanced landscape buffer in a few select locations, just to make the lots work. With that, I can take any questions.
All right, thank you. Any questions of staff before I open up the public hearing? All right, I see no questions for you. So we will open up the public hearing, and I'll start with the first 10 minutes for the applicant or others that might like to speak in support. You're welcome to come on up. And if you could, for the record, just give your name and address. We appreciate you being here.
Absolutely. Good evening. My name is Brian Easley. I am here on behalf of the applicant. My address is 1550 North Brown Road. And I'm going to attempt to show y'all a slide or two.
And setting up technology does not count against your time, so take your time.
Thank you.
How challenging it can be.
So as staff excellently summarized, the subject property is approximately 10 acres. It is currently zoned R100 within unincorporated Gwinnett County. And so the request is to annex into the wonderful city of Sugar Hill and to rezone it to RS100 within the Sugar Hill ordinances, subject to a conservation subdivision district overlay. We're pleased to have staff's recommendation of approval, and we humbly suggest that, just like staff showed, that the overall land use is consistent with the residential uses that are in the immediate vicinity right around the subject property, and as staff pointed out, including directly across the street, which is within the city of Sugar Hill and has the exact same zoning classification that we are requesting here tonight. Relative to the annexation itself, I would say that it's, being performed pursuant to the methods of Georgia law, and that the county has in fact responded to the request and stated that they have no opposition to the request to annex. There were some things, and I apologize, my colleague, Gabby Shaler, I believe, was in front of Planning Commission and also was present for your work session. And so there were some concerns that were raised I wanted to sort of address first. And one is that I think there were concerns relative to an internal road being private. We're certainly fine dedicating that and making that public right-of-way if that's a concern. But overall, the significant benefits that this offers is that under existing zoning, I believe it's as little as 6% of the hardwoods and current open space relative to the property would have to be preserved. The benefit of what we're proposing, which I think is really awesome, is that it's going to have upwards of 40% of that open space preserved, and you can see that on our current site plan here. I know that there were also maybe some questions about amenitizing in some ways that open space, and as you'll see on this site plan that's before you, we're showing the pavilion, picnic area, benches, and even a trail that would be incorporated in there, consistent with the ordinances, and then also adds connectivity out to the sidewalk. Another great benefit of this is that you've got a 20-foot setback on the rear and side portions of the property, and then a 40-foot setback, or buffer rather, I should say, buffer on the side and rear, and then 40-foot buffer relative to the roadway out at Swanee Dam Road. And I think I would further submit that this is entirely consistent with the future land use plan, which envisions lower and medium density residential. So this is single family detached residential. It anticipates and encourages and plans for those exact types of uses in this property. And this is really, as you saw earlier, an infill development, which is another thing that's prioritized under the current future land use plan. So it's all developed around that, and this is a perfect infill relative to that. And also, I would say that as part of this conservation subdivision overlay, it's really puts more requirements onto us as applicant. We've done a lot of things that were required to be submitted through the application process that are beneficial things that look at existing site features, so we had to perform this, and other things relative to the benefits of the property and how are we preserving those by virtue of opting into this conservation overlay. Of course, like I said, very pleased to have staff's recommendation of approval. We have looked at staff's conditions and just humbly would suggest some minor revisions to those, and they're really just conditions 4 and 5. It's really just a concern about market conditions. We're currently in a position of, or a period of significant uncertainty relative to availability of items, consumer preferences, affordability, things of that nature. And so we would humbly request striking conditions 4 and 5, which relate to the number of gas appliances to be installed in the unit, and then that's condition 5. Condition 4 relates to the cap relative to rentals of dwelling units. These are, of course, units that are to be put up for sale. These are not for rent units. That's 100% the intent relative to the request. The final thing is that as to condition number 7, I believe it's condition number 9, I'm sorry. The language at the end of it refers to the units to be constructed in such a way to create unique character for each dwelling unit with cohesive design elements to unify the dwellings into the overall development. We love that. That's totally the intent. It's purely that feels like a very subjective requirement that sometimes can be very difficult to meet, and people can have differing opinions on what exactly that means. And so those are our humble requests relative to that. Otherwise, I would preserve the remainder of my time for any rebuttal and certainly can address questions y'all may have. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any questions of the applicant while we have them up here? Yes, Mr. Hicks.
Hey, Mr. Easley, can you share what the anticipated price range for these homes would be?
Unfortunately, right now, I don't know the exact, and that's, again, it relates to market conditions, so I don't know the exact price, and I don't want to tell you something that would be speculative at this point.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hicks. Any other questions of the applicant? All right, I see no further questions. Thank you. Is there anybody else that would wish to take advantage of this time to come up and speak in support of the application? All right, I see nobody. Mr. Hartley, how much time do we have left for this category?
3 minutes and 40 seconds.
All right, 3 minutes and 40 seconds. So we'll save that for rebuttal time. We'll now move on to the 10 minutes for those that might wish to speak in opposition to or express concern about the application. Yes, sir. And if you could, just give your name and address for the record, and we appreciate you being here.
Gladly. Appreciate you having me speak. My name is Peter Giardo. I live at 6531 Sweet Laurel Run. So my backyard actually is right adjacent to this property, so I'm very familiar with the property. And just wanted to highlight several points. So I did submit a letter. I do have some copies if you're interested in seeing it. I can pass these around. But really just a high-level summary of the key points. First, the property in question is very established, large trees. There's definitely going to be an impact to wildlife. I know they're claiming the conservation route here, but if you look at the site plan, what they're tearing down is the wooded area. There's a very flat area in the front that's being conserved. That's a lawn basically, and all of the woods where a lot of the wildlife and such live. That's what's being targeted. The second concern, which is very, very important in my view, is that there appears to be a natural intermittent stream that is going to be encroached upon with this development. So the buffer zone of 20 feet does not address where that waterway lies. And I would like to, if it's okay, show you some photographs of what that stream. Yep. Okay. So, laying flat. Okay. Okay. Yep. Let me see if I can get it right. Yep. Yeah, so as you can see here, this is all natural stormwater runoff. This photograph was taken just about a week ago.
If you will just hold 1 minute,
sure.
let's get the camera adjusted so that we can actually see it.
A little nervous
Is there
up here,
anybody that
obviously.
can they hear us in the back, or are we just in the back room? Can someone zoom in on that for us? Sorry. And we're not taking time away. We're just going to wait.
That might do the trick for it.
Let's give it 1 more minute and let's see if they can adjust the clarity of it. Is that as good as we're going to get? Okay. That's better than nothing. It's a lot closer than it was. All right,
Okay.
please proceed. Thank you.
But so I did want to point out, so this and I'll try and go through with my pen here, but this is at the bottom of 2 hills, and again, right behind my property. Natural stormwater runs through there. Every time there's a big storm, it's a stream. It needs to be treated as a stream. The buffer does not account for that with the way the buffer is. This area is probably about maybe 40 or 50 feet from my property line. The buffer is only 20 feet. So I think that's an important point that definitely needs to be considered here. My next point, I know it was mentioned about the density in the surrounding area, but I do want to point out the original letter of intent that was submitted for the public failed to mention the zoning of RS 150, which is where my neighborhood is. So it mentioned RS 75, RS 100, RS 100 CSD, but it did not mention RS 150. I feel like the current zoning is appropriate. And if you look at what the compact nature of what they're trying to build here, the density is going to be about 2x or more of what we have in Laurel Park, which is a very well-established neighborhood that it's going to hurt the character of our neighborhood. The next item is loss of privacy. I want to highlight that, again, this development being up on a hill, there are houses just behind that. So these houses are going to be built up, looking down, and could definitely impact privacy for adjacent neighbors. There is a concern as well of overcrowding. So I have 2 children that are currently attend White Oak Elementary. Right now, there's 44 homes being built just across the street from White Oak, additional potential 34 homes. There's definitely concern. White Oak right now, based on the records I found, has a student-teacher ratio of 15-1. With all these new homes coming in, if all of them have 2 children like I do, that would move to 19-1 student to teacher ratio. The Gwinnett County average is 15-1. So White Oak's in a pretty good position right now, but with all this development going around, that would need to be considered as well. And then lastly is, traffic. So, coming out of our neighborhood, it can be a little bit sketchy. There's a little bit of a blind spot, especially when you're looking to the left. So now we're going to have additional traffic that we're going to need to be cognizant of. Obviously, we need to drive safe, but do we need to put in a stoplight? Do we need to do different things for traffic control? So those are my key points, and certainly open up for any questions.
Thank you for your time. We appreciate your comments. Any questions? All right, no questions. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Hartley, how much time do we have left? All right. Is there anybody else that would like to speak with the remaining time? Thank you, ma'am. Just give your name and address for the record, and we appreciate you being here.
Thank you. I am Lindsay Ross. I live at 6561 Sweet Laurel Run, so just up the street from my neighbor here. So our house also would back up to this new development that they are proposing. I've lived in Laurel Park neighborhood for almost 19 years now, and one thing that makes Laurel Park amazing and unique as a neighborhood is that we do have these natural wooded areas that flow between and around all of the homes. We back up to the Chattahoochee Nature Preserve and that wooded area, and these woods that are flowing behind our house. It's a natural pathway for the animals, for the deer. There's tons of wildlife that we see on a regular basis that live in this wooded area. And so just like was mentioned, the conservation and the 40% of land that you can see from the site map is not where the woods are. Where they're proposing to build a road, where there is not currently a road, and then 34 homes where there is currently only 1 home, would destroy all of that wooded area and that wildlife and those habitats. And that would just be devastating to see all of that torn down to build this development, which also for our neighborhood, it feels like putting a neighborhood tucked right inside the elbow of our neighborhood. It feels like the density of those homes and putting a neighborhood there would be encroaching on all of our neighbors that would back up to this. It's hard to tell from the site map. It's a hill. Our backyard declines down to what is an active creek bed when we get heavy rains. So there is a stream that flows behind there that I would hope that would be considered. But then there's a steep incline that goes up to Swanee Dam. So these homes would be built on this hill looking down into our homes. So definitely that loss of privacy, loss of property values for the residents that live in Laurel Park neighborhood. But I just wanted to speak today and thank you for hearing me in opposition of this. So I appreciate your time.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for your comments. Mr. Hartley, how much time do we have left? All right. Is there anybody here that wishes to take advantage of what's left to speak opposition or express concern about the application? All right. I don't see anybody, so we'll close out the opposing time. And we do have 3 minutes and 40 seconds left for rebuttal from the applicant. Please come forward if you'd like to.
Sure, thank you. Just very briefly, I'd like to address a couple of points that I think I heard. One of those is just that the existing zoning R100 within unincorporated Gwinnett County would permit development of the property with, even less conservation space preserved. So I understand concerns relative to that, but the existing zoning would permit a more harmful from that perspective development of the property. The other thing is that I heard a concern about the stream or the disagreement about whether or not there is a stream that requires certain legal protections under the law. That's addressed in staff's condition 2, where there's a condition that speaks to, at the time of land disturbance permit, that analysis has to be performed, and if it is in fact determined that there is a qualifying stream or body of water on the property, that adjustments would be made relative to the site plan. So that's not something that, certainly over my head and area of expertise, but it's not something that can be determined legally now, and the proper time for that would be at the issuance of a land disturbance permit, as staff noted in the conditions. The other one is that, there was a concern about privacy, and exactly what we're asking to do is allow a 20-foot buffer to be built to insulate the neighborhoods where they are adjacent to one another. So I think that's another added benefit of this particular land use that we are requesting, this rezoning. And then finally, there was mention relative to schools and traffic, which are always a consistent concern from community, but that also was looked at and addressed in staff's report, where they found that there was not likely a burdensome change to those existing resources based on the proposed development. So I would respectfully submit that those issues have been evaluated and addressed and are addressed within the current proposal, and humbly request that y'all vote to approve the requested annexation and rezoning. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Yes, I think there's maybe another question for the applicant.
Gwinnett County's minimum open space for R100 is 10%. What is your open space that you're proposing?
It's a little bit over 40, so I don't, the math, I don't want to
Sure.
get exactly wrong, but I think it's 41 or 42%.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any questions of staff or of the applicant? Go ahead.
So one of the pages that was included in the packet shows where you have slopes of over 25% on the property. How are you planning on dealing with that? Are you building homes with basements? Are you doing a lot of earthwork, or what is your plan there?
I think I can't speak specifically to each part of that, because some of that does, go to the land disturbance permit and later permitting times relative to the development. But I think certainly basements would be one option, and then there may, depending on the situation, need to be, earthwork that's done to address that.
Thank you.
Mr. Page, did you have a question? Okay. All right, any other questions for the applicant? All right, thank you. We are done with public hearings, so we'll close that out. Any questions of staff? Mr. Page?
I just have a few comments on this one. And, last week we spoke and Mr. Perkle had brought up the road, and the applicant also agreed. One thing, if we are looking at this in a favorable way of taking over the maintenance of the road to not burden any new residents, I think that would be something that we would need to address. And of course, I will always be in favor of any sort of annexation that comes before this council to clean up our city limits. We are in a kind of a predicament with this one, in my opinion, in terms of, use by right, what's already approved that can go straight to the county to be developed, versus us having some sort of say and us protecting the residents in a community that's already in our city limits. We have a situation going on just off of Hillcrest that was denied and use by right, and now there is no buffer over there. So I don't want to see a rerun of that happening. Of if we can give the residents some sort of buffer, then let's give the residents some sort of buffer. It is hard to stop a developer. If they already have site plans, they can go to somewhere else and get it approved more than likely. The applicant had requested some, I guess, changes to what staff is recommending. I do not agree with the removal of a leasing cap. I think that would need to stay in there. And then in addition to the 3 natural gases being removed, we are a natural gas city. We are a proud natural gas city. I'm proud that we are one of the lowest rates in the state for our natural gas rates. So I would humbly request that stays in there, and have our citizens unlock that potential of kind of some better utility rates. But I would welcome, I guess, a conversation of council to see what we can do to kind of, if we want to go ahead with this, to make it more favorable. One thing off the top of my head, I believe the applicant said a 40-foot buffer off of the right-of-way of Swanee Dam Road. I'm showing a 50-foot on the plan that we have in our packet on page 18, so I'm not sure if that was a revision or not. And I'm not sure, in my simple development mind here, we can simply just pull that up and make it a 25-foot buffer off of the right-of-way from the road to grant an additional 25-foot on the back of the property. There might be some site work that's going to have to be reworked with some of those lots, but I think that's at least something to those residents at a minimum to get them off of those lots in Laurel Park. So that's kind of where my thoughts are right now with this one, and welcome some conversation.
All right, thank you, Mr. Page. Mr. Perkle.
Thank you, Mayor. So a couple of follow-up comments on what you mentioned. I agree with you on the covenants of the 20% max on the rental home property. The gas appliance, I certainly think we ought to at least go with gas heat, whether it's at a minimum. Now, whether somebody wants that for their clothes dryer or for their stove, I don't think those significantly contribute to the overall gas use like the gas heat does. So certainly on that part of it, I agree with you there. The item number 9 that he wanted changed, I see where he might have some concern about being vague, but I would not want to remove that entirely. The whole purpose is that all those houses should not look the same as some of those subdivisions we've seen going up Peachtree Industrial and McEver Road, in those areas where they're largely rental subdivisions and they all look the same and they all look terrible. So I do have those concerns. A couple of other things, though. I don't object in general to the conservation subdivision. Barrington Estates right across the road is, and I think that was a good use of it. It does say in the ordinance that the purpose is not to enhance the density of the property. And what I see here looks like it's, for the most part, unusable property due to the topography there. And so I don't think they could develop the max number of houses in the county under the R100 there just due to the terrain that's there. I do appreciate that there is an amenity there, and that is on some usable property there where they have the gazebo and whatever the other structure is there, and even the walking trail. So on that, I do see some positive there, but I don't see that the majority of the property being set aside is usable property. I do like the suggestion you had about potentially moving the property up closer to the road and therefore allowing a larger buffer to the back. So kind of a mixed bag of things I see there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Perkle. Any other comments or questions? Ms. Avery.
Yes, I would like to say that initially, when I saw the words conservation subdivision, I thought that sounded really great. As far as the conditions, I do not agree that with condition number 3, if this was a gated subdivision, then I could see that the subdivision is in charge of the roads. I could understand that. If this was a huge subdivision, 50, 60, 100 homes, I could see where maybe the city didn't want to keep up with such a large road structure. So therefore I do not agree with number 3. If the the person who lives there lives in the city limits of Sugar Hill, paying city property taxes, and I don't believe that they should pay property taxes plus an increased HOA fee that has to cover roads and things like that. I do not agree with the special use permit request. We're looking right now at a conservation district. There must be a minimum of 10 acres. This just made it at 10.16. This just made it. But I like what Councilmember Page said about buffers, but I'm really not in favor of the special use permit request, reducing lots, and that's all I have to say right now. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Yes, Mr. Anderson.
Regarding condition number 3, I think it's important to understand that that road becomes, if it's not privately maintained, that it becomes the city's responsibility to maintain forever and ever. And in here, there is a clause to fund the capital reserve fund with a balance of $50,000. I think as we talk about ways to reduce property taxes within the city, one of those ways is to reduce our liabilities that we take on. And in this case, taking on the maintenance of that road and the storm drainage infrastructure of that community is taking on a liability that the city will be responsible for maintaining in perpetuity. In the future, that subdivision could approach the city and request that it be taken over by the city. But I am in favor if a road does not connect through, as this one does not, that it should be continue to be maintained by an HOA. I think that's something that we should consider as a city council. And the applicant himself did not object to that particular condition. So I don't see a reason for the city to take on the liability if we have the ability to not take it on. So I would suggest that number 3 stay. I'm in agreement with Councilmember Page regarding reducing that front setback off of Swanee Dam Road to 25 feet so that we can increase the rear setback off of Laurel Park to a greater amount. And I do think it's important to say that it is zoned, and I think we've said that a few times up here, with it being zoned as R100 within the county's open space requirement of 10% is purely open space. It is not an undisturbed requirement. So that if this were denied tonight and the applicant take an R100 subdivision to the county, they could disturb this entire property. And as Councilmember Perkle pointed out, there is some rough terrain on it. And the way you deal with rough terrain is to grade that property. Whereas in this case, it would be preserved, at least a portion of it would be preserved. In the case of going to the county, there would be no buffers off Laurel Park, and the entirety of the property would be graded, and it would be the same situation as Councilmember Page pointed out on Hillcrest Drive, where all of that, where we had the opportunity to give those folks a buffer against development, which we denied, and so they've now developed in it with no buffers against them. So that is my comments on it. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Mr. Page, you look like you're ready to say something else.
If the council is ready to move forward with an approval, I think I would like to see the special use permit be taken out, which I think would cause us to see a reduction in the lots. And I'm not sure if that would be something that we have planning and zoning go back to the applicant with and come up with what that looks like, if they still want to proceed with how many lots that would look like, and come back in next month. So
we could do that, correct? I mean, the Planning and Zoning Commission tabled this item, so I'm going to make a suggestion. I suggest that we send it back to the Planning and Zoning Commission and allow them to perfect this based on the comments that have been made today.
Just to clarify, this one was recommended for denial at Planning Commission. I believe the next one coming up, that was the tabled one.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. Apologize for that. Yes, Mr. Anderson.
Logan, what would be the minimum lot width if the special use permit is denied or is removed?
60 feet.
Okay, thank you.
We could still send it back to the Planning and Zoning Commission and ask them to perfect it, but I'll... Mr. Page, yes.
We can do that. I'm also agreeable if we want to do some sort of approval, making some amendments to some of what's before us here with what we've kind of spoken about, and then also adding a provision of no more than 30. We've got 34 before us, max of 30 lots on this one. There's 34, bring it down to a max of 30 lots on the development, so.
Mr. Page, before I ask if there is a motion, would you maybe talk through what your suggestions would be?
I think yeah, let's go through these here. We would keep 3 in terms of, and one thing that was brought up was the private roads. I'm okay to concede that one and keep these private roads since we do have provision number 3 in here. It would be up to the community members to ensure that their reserves are adequately funded and they invest those wisely. They're starting off with $50,000. They can do some reserve planning and get to what they need to be. That's not a lot of road frontage to maintain. It's just going to take some community effort and potentially professional management to get them there. But they can, and that's possible. We would keep 4. The applicant said that they would prefer that to be taken out there. Keep 4. Also keep 5 with the 3 natural gas appliances, unless council sees fit. I know Mr. Perkle had mentioned at least 1, but I'm okay with 5 staying as is. If that is okay. And then having the right-of-way buffer, as indicated in our packet, is 50 feet. The applicant said 40, so it is 50 feet. Okay. The right-of-way buffer on Swanee Dam Road be reduced from 50 feet to 25 feet, and then adding the 25 feet to the back of the property, which would make that 45 feet rear buffer. I believe that has captured, and a max of 30 lots in this development. And I'm not sure if we should revoke the special use permit or just cap it at 30 lots. I think math will probably add out about the same thing.
All right, thank you.
I think that's captured everything.
Mr. Perkle.
I like the direction that's going. I'd like to see it all drawn out, and also with the reason being that it's an annexation as opposed to just a rezoning and some implications there. I would rather see it all planned and make sure we know what we're doing. And that way they would have a chance to comment or withdraw the annexation if they don't like the direction it's moved in.
All right. Ms. Avery has a question.
I have a question, Logan. Under the special use permit in item 1, in the CSD, says that the minimum road frontage per lot, the minimum, is 40 feet. It says here, road frontage may be reduced to 40 feet or 20 feet against cul-de-sac as permitted by the CSD overlay. And the CSD also says the average lot width has to be at least 60 feet. So could you tell me a little bit more about that road frontage? So would it be 20 feet against the cul-de-sac?
Sure. Kind of hard to describe without a picture, but let me go back a couple slides, see if we can. So basically how we determine lot width is the width of the lot at the front setback line. So what that basically means is when you're along a cul-de-sac lot, it's a little bit more of a pie shape. Basically what that is allowing you to do is have a slightly smaller road frontage, but at that back, we'll just say 35 feet because that's the number that sticks in my head. Front building setback line, that lot's going to be 60 feet wide. So does that make sense, or it's not allowing 40-foot lots if that's what you're trying to ask. They are still 60-foot lots. It just allows for a little play in the shape based on the curves of the road and the cul-de-sacs. It's not that different from our current regulations. It's just happens to be spelled out in this particular overlay.
All right, thank you, Ms. Avery. All right, any questions? I'm going to recognize Mr. Perkel for a motion.
Mayor, I make a motion to table so we can get these details ironed out and put in writing.
Thank you. I have a motion to table from Mr. Perkel. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. Avery. Any discussion before I call the vote?
Just one thing, will planning like us, would they capture everything, or would it be better if one of us sent it to Art tomorrow? I just want to make sure we captured everything.
I think I've written everything
Okay.
down.
I trust you. Thank you.
What we can do is come up with what we believe you said, write that language out, and get it, send it out to everybody.
All right, any further discussion? All right, all those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. All right, that's tabled until next month. All right, we will move on to item number 4, planning staff as well.
All right, this is RZ 25-007, located at 4832 White Street. Planning Commission recommended tabling this item with a 3-1 vote. Let me go back to my notes, sorry about that. All right, this is currently zoned MH, mobile home in the city. Applicant is requesting an R36 zoning on a .62 acre parcel. If this sounds somewhat familiar, it is, because about 2 doors up, we had a very substantially similar request to this one from a different applicant a couple months ago, which was RZ 25-003, which is this one right here, R36. Predominantly, this area is zoned mobile home, developed with some older mobile homes in the area. However, as some recent zoning cases have indicated, and some various improvements on adjacent properties, this area is undergoing a level of transition and improvement. The applicant is requesting 3 lots with with a variance to do 5-foot side yard setbacks, 30-foot fronts, and 20 in the rear. You can see there is some right-of-way weirdness, you can say, going on with White and Line Street, just because it is such an old road and such an old platted neighborhood. These things weren't really considered, and now development's starting to catch up. We kind of need to fix some things. So we heard some concerns from the neighbors. We also heard some concerns from Planning Commission. So we did add condition 4 to this request, basically stating that the developer shall dedicate a portion of the property for future right-of-way improvements along White and Border Street, and we'll do that determination prior to giving them the exemption plat that they would need to actually develop this site. Other than that, just standard conditions, as well as recommending approval of the variance request from 10 to 5 feet on the sides. And with that, I can take questions.
All right, thank you. Any questions of staff? All right, thank you. We will now move on then to the public hearing portion of this application. And I'll start with the first 10 minutes for the applicant or any others that would like to speak in support of the application. Sir, if you could just give your name and address for the record, and we thank you for being here.
Yes, sir. My name is Dustin Sadahi with Empire Investments. I live at 2244 Shoal Creek Road, Beaufort, Georgia, 30518. So we're looking to do basically the same thing that they did down the street. There are a couple of issues which I'm willing to concede to the staff recommendations. Have no opposition to that. The neighborhood has some fine people in it, and there are a couple of people here that I do cherish. I've known them for a couple of years now, I think, almost, and I am willing to be there for them, to do what's needed to make the neighborhood a little bit nicer. Like staff said, that it is pretty much on the Sugar Hill side zoned, basically all mobile home. It is in an older road, and it does need to, well, development is coming, and we want to make it nicer with affordable housing. Is there any other questions?
Thank you, sir. Any questions of the applicant? Ms. Avery?
Question. I caught that last phrase that you said, affordable housing.
Yes, ma'am.
But these are 2,500 square foot houses. That's not really an inexpensive house to build. When you say affordable, do you have any idea what the price range would be?
We're not 100% certain what the price range is going to be as of right now, based on, where we are in the economic period of time. But we are thinking we're going to be somewhere in between $400,000 and $600,000 depending. So, and that's just kind of our guesstimate. And
All right, thank you. Any other questions of the applicant? I appreciate your time. Is there anybody else that would like to take advantage of this time to speak in support of the application? All right, I do not see anybody. Mr. Hartley, how much time do we have left?
8 minutes, 47 seconds.
8 minutes, 47 seconds. We'll reserve that for rebuttal time, and I will move on to the 10 minutes for those that might wish to speak in opposition to or express concern about the application. And ma'am, if you could just give your name and address for the record, we appreciate you coming and speaking with us tonight.
Good evening. Thank you for having me, along as everybody else. My name is Stephanie Upton, and I live at 196 Line Street, Beaufort, Georgia, 30518. Why is Stephanie here from Beaufort? Because I share the road with White Street. It is one strip of asphalt that encompasses one side is Sugar Hill, and one side is within the city limits of Beaufort. With that being said, yes, there are great issues with Border Street and with the White Street where the current 3 homes are being built. The roads, it's very dangerous over there. First of all, the maximum width that I have recorded of actual roadway is 17 feet, maximum width. The minimum width goes down to 12 feet. The average SUV, which they are making them bigger, the average SUV is 6.5 to 7 foot wide exterior, including mirrors. Put 2 of those next to each other, we cannot pass each other. It's not physically possible. Currently, we have to pull off onto people's yards. 4832 is no exception. Without a doubt, you can see on that strip at Border Street where people have no choice but to pull over to pass each other. Those are just basic vehicles. I'm not even talking about Amazon, UPS, FedEx. A school bus is even wider. Everybody has to get off the road when the school bus comes down. White Street is no better. Minimum width that, again, there is 12 feet. My understanding, and I realize, again, I live there, this is an old established neighborhood. New neighborhoods that are being built with the roads having to be made, my understanding is those minimum widths are 21 feet. We're not even close. In addition to this, we have no real, to my knowledge, any form of modern storm water drainage runoff, anything. It's all over the place. It's in everybody's yards, especially down where I am. Down at the end, it goes crazy. My neighbor, you can see it looks like where a river goes through his yard. In addition to some of these concerns, which I did speak at the last meeting, so all of that should be in some of those notes as well. One of the issues that was pointed out to me recently with regards to this property and request and whatnot specifically is there seems to be some discrepancies with regards to the acreage itself. Gwinnett County has it listed at 0.63. On the applicant, it says 0.70. There was a report, I don't know if it was with regards to survey, where there's the coordinates of the property listed, that shows that the property is only at .619. Okay, you want to bump it up to .62, great. The ones up the street, where the current construction is going on, is .65. Doesn't sound like a big difference, but this neighborhood is an older neighborhood. The majority of the homes, I'm not talking about the mobile homes, but the actual houses in that area are being dwarfed immensely. It looks like we now have skyscraper homes in our neighborhood. Again, we understand and appreciate development and modernization and things of that nature, but we feel like the maple's against the oaks. And we're not getting any light with these big, huge homes. Again, currently, before you is with regards to 4832. There is at the end of the cul-de-sac, there's back on Simmons Drive. There's also with regards to the adjacent property, 4834. Everyone, several different builders have all been looking at these properties, and they all want this R36 zoning, which allows for smaller lots with these bigger homes. As the people spoke earlier with their zoning issues, we're starting to feel like, okay, we're like the little people with the people in the big houses looking down on us. We feel like we're not going to have much privacy left, in our backyards, front yards, things of that nature. With regards to the R36 zoning, a question came up over the weekend with some of the neighbors with regards to looking at Exhibit 1 that was provided by the applicant. Lot number 1, again, all right, let me back up a little bit. My understanding with R36 zoning, the minimum lot space is 8,000 square feet. I don't know if that's a variable. Oh, we can fudge it a little here, a couple hundred square feet difference here. I don't know. Lot 1 obviously fits within that requirement. Lot 2 and Lot 3 do not. They are just under, based on the calculations we have done, that 8,000 square foot lot requirement. One of them is at 0.181 acres, which would be 7,884.36 square feet. Lot 3 is listed at 0.180 acres. That is 7,840.8 square feet. Again, one of the main questions is, what is the actual lot size? Is it 0.61, 0.63, is it 0.65, is it 0.70? As you guys were talking about earlier with regards to potentially, trying to see what we could do with regards to these roads, because safety is a huge issue, primarily right at this site, at this intersection. As you're coming up Border Street, first of all, the stop sign is way too far back. You have to actually pass the stop sign to have any visibility whatsoever. And then you have to actually pull into the intersection from the left to see, is there anybody even there? Coming down White Street, making the right onto Border Street, it's tight. I mean, not only is the intersection too small, but it's visibility is again an issue. There's been several times where children riding their bikes, scooters, skateboards, things of that nature, as children will do. They're not going to stay in their front yard with their ball. They're going to be up and down the streets on their bikes and things of that nature. They come down that hill or up that hill. In a vehicle, you can't, even if you're doing the speed limit, you can't see them. They don't pay attention to that stop sign. They're kids. There's been several times where we've been out and you're going, because it's so close from some kid getting creamed. And it's not necessarily the driver being irresponsible. It's just the way the intersection is. These are the things that I have brought to present to you with regards to our concerns with our neighborhood. We do understand development is coming. We do understand that the area is an old area. However, even though we live in some older homes, some that go back to the 30s on that road. My home is not that old. I have been there for 20 years, since 2005. we understand and we appreciate development. However, shoving huge homes amongst these small 1,500 square foot homes is basically really making our neighborhood look kind of weird, to be honest with you. And in addition, there's, concerns with the roads, stormwater runoff, because we already have some issues there before we keep adding more to it. So I'm here to request you guys not just blindly, doesn't appear that you are, add to the issues of our neighborhood without really taking a look at it. And then the only thing I have for you is with regards to some signatures from residents and citizens in the area that are also Sugar Hill residents, unlike me being in Beaufort, that are also concerned with regards to the zoning request, the big, huge homes, the small lots, and the fact that we're really running out of green space over there. That's all I got.
Thank you, ma'am. How much time do we have left? All right, we've got 55 seconds left of the 10 minutes. Is there anybody that would wish to just come up and very quickly talk about their concerns? All right, I see nobody, so we will close out the opposing time. There is still 8 minutes and 47 seconds left for rebuttal if the applicant would wish to come forward.
Thank you guys for having me. I just wanted to address a couple of issues that she had brought up. So the way that the land is situated, any water coming from that lot is going completely opposite of where her house is. So basically, it's going from the intersection. I guess you would say that would be southwest, maybe. So it's all going away from her, going away from any residence on any road. So that and then also our houses, the houses that they're building and the development that was just recently approved, that is up on a hill. I'm sure it does look like it's towering above. However, ours is at street level and below. They're likely going to be basement just because of the way that the land lies. And then it comes to the road. The road, I agree, it is a little bit smaller in some spots, and the smallest spot happens to be right there where that huge oak tree is. Deeding some land to the city or more right away, I think solves that problem. I think it solves her problem, especially for getting in and out. If her neighbor, which has a landscape company on the Beaufort side, is out there getting ready for his day. As far as safety is concerned, with that she had brought up, I don't believe, and I did some checking with Gwinnett County. I don't know of any accidents, and I haven't been told of any accidents that have happened on that road. Everywhere that we go, especially in this time of year where we have the rut, the deers go out. It's almost, I almost hit a deer yesterday. Kids, it's another story. We always got to be careful for that. But there hasn't been an incident of a kid getting hit on a bike or even a car crashing at or close to that intersection. But with that being said, all I want to do is try to make the street a little bit better. I've offered and agreed with staff suggestions, and I'm grateful, and I hope that you guys approve it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. All right, before I ask, first of all, I'll close out the public hearing. Any further questions or comments from council? Mr. Perkle.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple of comments. First, I'm not sure if it was intentional, but I appreciate the rush reference. Second thing, like the previous rezoning on White Street, I think 3 is too many here. I'm happy to go 2. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other questions, comments? Mr. Page?
Yeah, just a couple comments. I think we spoke about this at the last rezoning and for White Street, and this area is an older node of Sugar Hill, so the development is coming. We already see that on the Buford side, Westbrook, Elliott, Smoky. Those are all coming over there. So it is just a matter of time. I think this is a good use of what's going to be there, and kind of will eventually help the community, in terms of having a good mix of development over there. I will call out, there is a discrepancy on the application. Even what's in front of us is showing 0.618 acres, and the application does show 0.7. So I'm not sure if that was where we're getting those numbers, or just unintentional, of course, but would like to get that cleared up if there's some sort of other survey out there that's showing more land than actually is. So, but with that, Mayor, that's all I have.
All right, based on what he's just asked, can you explain the discrepancy?
Yeah. Basically, it boils down to this land was surveyed, I believe, over 100 years ago. If I looked up the plat, I think it was 102 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. Tools were just simply not that accurate back then. As we've progressed over time, we've gotten computerized survey equipment, very accurate. Really, that discrepancy boils down to some older information. Now he's got more current information. This plan you see on here, the 0.618, which I just simply rounded up to 0.62 for discussion's sake, that would be the most accurate number.
Mr. Page, does that help? Thank you. And I apologize, we've closed out public hearing, and so can't take any further comment, but I appreciate you. All right, any other questions or comments? Ms. Avery? Yes, ma'am.
I did notice that this property is just a little bit smaller than the other one that was approved a few months ago, that I also did not agree that 3 houses was suitable for such a small lot, and I don't believe that it is here as well. I've been out to the property to see, and when I measured from the area of pavement right in front of this proposed area, it's about 17 feet. And while I was there, the Gwinnett County School Bus went by. The bus does take up the whole road, and that's just the Gwinnett County School Bus. Half the street is Buford, so I would guess that a Buford school bus also uses this road. So the road gets traffic from buses of 2 different school districts. There's the safety issue with, as Ms. Upton pointed out, the other vehicles that are large. This is a narrow street. I do think that this is a big safety concern. And adding more congestion to this street, and 17 feet right there in front, that is very small, very small. When I looked, and when looking at these 2,500 square feet each house, and when I looked at R36, one of the things that R36 says, but of the purpose of this district, promote more efficient utilization of land and creativity in architectural and engineering design, favoring traditional neighborhood design principles without maximizing density. And I think we are maximizing the density. And the traditional neighborhood design, as pointed out, these big houses just don't seem to fit and match in with the rest of the neighborhood. So I think the safety issue, the drainage issue, the road issue is a big deal. We don't know the prices of these affordable houses. I really think that we need to decide what we're going to do about the safety of the street before allowing 3 more houses to come in, because there are still 2 more lots available, about just a little bit bigger, the same size, although they're on Line Street in Buford, but there are 2 other lots available. And a precedent now has unfortunately already been set because of the 3 houses on White Street. And I think it's time to take a step back and say, wait, let's look and see what is the best use for this neighborhood. What is the safest route to follow? And I think those are priority. And maximizing the density is not one of the answers. I just think that we really need to look at this carefully. The stop sign is not in the good place, and I'm just really concerned about that road. The neighbors there already are having right now, who knows how long, because of the Highway 20 widening, part of Railroad Avenue is closed, and that has presented, for a temporary situation, a very challenging situation for the people that live there. So you've got the challenge of widening 20 and railroad being closed, then all the construction and all of the vehicles associated with the construction of those 3 new homes. I think we need to take a step back and look very carefully at what we will or will not do with this neighborhood.
All right, thank you, Ms. Avery. Mr. Page?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I believe this is the case that was tabled by our planning and zoning. Yes. You know, in light of what is being spoken here, I am in favor of what is before us as of right now, but I think I would be remiss if we proceeded with this and not have some sort of plan from our side. I know that we cannot control our sister city, Beaufort, and what they do, but I think we do need to come up with some sort of meeting of the minds to alleviate this. As I do, I'm very happy and proud to see that folks want to invest in our community and our side of the street. But I think this trend will continue going on in Line Street and Border Street and all the streets surrounding there. I think it's time to come up with a plan, just like Councilwoman Avery said, and then let's go ahead and go ahead and proceed with this. So I'm not sure, I know planning and zoning doesn't really have a table procedure. I'm not really sure how you want to partake that, and we remained it there once we have a plan, but I'll leave that up to you, boss man.
I think I'll lean on Mr. Hartley to advise, but I do believe we can remand this back to the Planning and Zoning Commission, and correct me if I'm wrong.
Mayor, you could remand it back to the Planning Commission if you want. If you are just waiting for information from staff, you would typically table it for 30 days, 60 days, some amount of time to give staff an opportunity to do some research and come up with a plan. So, I mean, I think you've got some flexibility as to whether you want it to come back directly to you, you want to table it for 60 or 30 or 60 days to give staff time to come up with a plan and then send it back to the Planning Commission with that plan. So just...
Yes, Mr. Page.
In the holidays, I'm not sure if 30 days would be enough for our staff. I mean, I would be in favor if we want to table to 60 days. I'd push in the January timeframe, and then the council take it back up and see if they could come up with something with the city of Beaufort. But I'll let others speak.
I think Mr. Anderson might have a suggestion too.
I think if we are tabling this, we need to be clear to staff what the expectations we are wanting from them. I would suggest that wider streets, now granted these are exceptionally narrow, but wider streets are not safer streets. Wider streets are more dangerous streets because cars go faster on wider streets than they do on narrow streets. Now, that being said, 12 feet on a two-way street is too narrow, but wider, if your concern is and I hear you. I live in a subdivision with 27-foot wide streets. Cars in our neighborhood routinely exceed 40 and 50 miles an hour and run stop signs. So my suggestion is that widening streets is not necessarily going to achieve the safety aspects that some may expect that it would. The other side of that is, Logan, what's the number of mobile homes that this property could have on it today?
Just one.
It can't be further subdivided from what it is now for additional mobile homes? Okay. And then the other thing would, like I said, if the desire is to table, I agree with Councilmember Page, that I would not send it necessarily back to Planning Commission. Rather, I would give staff direction on what our expectations are for what you're wanting to see from staff as far as street improvements and how those would align with what would be built and can be built with Buford. So I just would suggest that, especially since if this remained at 60 days, I won't be here.
I'm just going to suggest to you that I don't think 60 days is long enough for us to come up with a road widening, repaving plan. Number one, because we don't have it in this year's budget. Number two, I just don't think it's the adequate amount of time. So I'm just making that suggestion to you. Since a lot of this centers around the road width and safety related to that, I just wanted to point that out. So, but it is up to the city council to decide what they want to do. Yes, Mr. Perkle?
Mayor, I would just say we could table it 60 days and see where we are if they have come up with a plan. I certainly think there's a minimum safe width that at least 2 cars can pass without having to swerve off the road, and that should be a starting point. And then I guess also see how many parcels of right-of-way would need to be acquired, how many will be on our side. There's just some basic stuff like that, and then we can pick it up and determine where we are at that point. We can table it longer if we need, or we can take action if it's ready.
Got it. I think that sounds, Miss Avery, you have a comment?
One more thing, as staff is looking at this, I think the variance request to have the side setbacks reduced from 10 to 5 feet is unacceptable. I have seen the houses that they're building. I mean, they're so close together. And, I mean, you know, if 3 generations of families live there, that'd probably be great. But I am not in favor of the variance request. And I truly understand, Councilmember Anderson, what you're saying about the road. I live on a road that has a couple of hills, and you can just fit 2 cars at the same time with just a little few feet in between. I mean, I have to move over a little bit if it's, you know, there's another car coming. But even that road, I've seen people fly up and down Forest Green Drive. And people are going to press their luck, whether, I mean, it's less likely on a smaller road, but it does happen with the in-between roads as well as the bigger roads. But I just wanted to make sure, you know, I'm not in favor of the reducing those side setbacks.
Thank you, Miss Avery. Mr. Page?
Mr. Mayor, I think I'm about ready to propose a table motion. I think going with the 60 days and then having staff look at, you know, right-of-way acquisition, but then also in light of budget constraints, looking at other simpler solutions in terms of just making Border and White Street one way in either direction. It is a prime candidate for how that how the traffic flow kind of goes around that curve. So there might be some simpler solutions there. So I'm prepared if you're ready.
I think we're ready, Mr. Page.
Okay, I would like to make a motion to table, make a motion to table RZ 25007 regarding the parcel at 4832 White Street to the January work session and council meetings, and then give staff direction to look at right-of-way acquisition and other budget-friendly considerations.
Thank you, Mr. Page. I have a motion from Mr. Page. Is there a second? Second from Mr. Perkle. Any discussion before I call the vote? All right, all those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Very good. Next, we'll move on to item number 4, and that deals with permitted animals, and I'll defer to the planning staff. Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. You have before you tonight a proposal of a proposed zoning amendment dealing with the residential keeping of chickens. This proposed zoning change provides more detail about how chickens should be kept, specifies the number of chickens based on property size, and stipulates fencing and distances from neighboring properties. It restricts the keeping of chickens to certain zoning classifications, essentially low-density and medium-density residential. It prohibits the keeping of chickens in the town center and central business districts. And City Council requested staff look into this and provide suggestions, so that's why we're here. Much of this is in line with Gwinnett County's zoning ordinance. Lot sizes must be at least 10,500 square feet in size. No roosters are allowed. They need to be kept in the rear yard, 20 feet from adjacent properties and 50 feet from other homes. Number of chickens is based on the lot size, which you can see in the proposed language in your packet. This is included in the ordinance dealing with rabbits and pigs because that's where it was previously, so we just added chickens to that. So and effectively, the larger the lot, the more chickens you can have. So the recommendation is to delete section 614 and create 615, the keeping of certain animals as recommended by staff and approved by the city attorney. We're happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. Any questions of staff about this?
I have a question, possibly a discussion item. It has been brought to my attention this past week that we failed to include a poultry-friendly friend in our amendment here. Someone brought up the keeping of quail, which are smaller than chickens. In the same vein, folks, I'm not sure if it would, can we add it very easily without going through public hearing and just add chicken/quail? I do not want to open the door by saying poultry and saying chickens or peacocks, emus, all that fun stuff. I don't want that. So a discussion point here.
I would defer to the city attorney.
Thanks, city attorney. Frank, things you want to talk about at 10 o'clock on a Monday.
I think you have stupefied Mr. Hartley.
Trying to look and see if there's definitions and other things, so.
I know quail definitely hasn't been specifically listed, so it would need to be added. We just probably have to look at what lines exactly we would need to add quail, so, yeah.
Yeah, because currently it does clearly only apply to chickens because you have a definition of chicken as a domesticated bird kept for eggs or as a pet, and then has hens and rooster definitions. And so I think if you're going to add quail, you're going to have to change your definitions and do some other things. So I don't think it's an easy fix that you can do tonight, unfortunately.
Thank you.
All right. So quick question for you, because we have the opportunity to open up public hearing here. Should we wait to do the public hearing until we have figured out this language?
I would suggest that you go ahead and move forward because you may have to re-advertise it anyway, and so I would go ahead and get this on the books, and then if you want to come back and add quail, that's a much easier fix at a later date.
Y'all okay with that? Okay. Any other questions before I open up public hearing? All right, we will now move forward to public hearing, and I'll recognize any individuals that might like to speak in support of this. There is 10 minutes for this comment time. All right. We'll pass on Ms. King. I can see your head, the top of your head there, by the way. All right. Anybody else that might want to take advantage of this 10 minutes to speak in support? All right, we'll close out this category of time, and we'll move towards the 10 minutes for those that might wish to speak in concern or in opposition to. All right. I do not see anybody, so I'm going to close out that period of time as well. Any further questions or comments? Mr. Page.
Thank you. It's the tie that it gets me a little talkative, I guess, tonight. I hope that the council will be favorable to this that is before us to allow our, of course, non-HOA residents to keep some livestock for, of course, educational purposes. That is why this was brought before the council when I proposed this for educational purposes for our students in our community and folks who want to keep them recreationally, simply, to have some eggs and just learn about livestock and things like that in our community. So that is all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Page. Is there a motion?
Mayor, I would like to make a motion that the City Council of Sugar Hill adopt ZOA 25004. Thank you.
I have a motion from Mr. Page. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Hicks. Any discussion before I call the vote? All right, all those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, like sign. Okay, thank you. All right, next we'll move on to item number 6. Mr. Radford.
Thank you, Mayor. You should have a package of, in your council package, you'll have a copy of the contract that is the subject of this item, dealing with the collection of delinquent taxes, property taxes. It's Appalachian Mountain Services specializes in this. They've been in business for 25 years, serve about 97 plus cities and county governments, including Gwinnett County and several cities in Gwinnett. We have had those discussions with them to help implement our tax collection, delinquent tax collection process that you adopted as a policy. And they will take it from the beginning of the 5-phase process, notifications, and then if don't get them paid, then the unfortunate part would be the public sale of property. But we think this will enhance our tax collection rate, which is still pretty good, but they have expertise in this. The city clerk will still file all the 5-phase with the clerk of the Superior Court in the appropriate document, the lien book, and there will be fees for filing, fees for removing that 5-phase as well. So we are recommending that you approve the contract between the city and Appalachian Mountain Services for the collection of delinquent city ad valorem taxes, and authorize the city manager to sign the contract. One point I'd like to make is that I don't know whether we can do it tonight, but at some point in time we need to change our delinquent tax collection policy, where we say we wouldn't go something as delinquent as $150 or more. We would like to take it down to $10 or more at the recommendation of Appalachian Mountain Services and their experience with being in terms of being fair to all current property taxpayers. So that is a recommendation from staff.
Thank you, Mr. Radford. I think before us we have the contract for delinquent tax collection. So any questions of Mr. Radford? Yes, Mr. Pergel.
So just like to clarify, in the payment of service, it does say this would not be chargeable to the taxpayers who have paid their bills. It would be chargeable to the account that is past due, right? So then it goes on to break down the fees, $60 for a collection cost and $180 for the title search. So total is, I guess, a maximum of $240 that it states in there. Just want to make sure we don't get it caught in the middle of this, and once it's been handed off to the other company, they owe the fees, right? I don't know if there's a possibility of them catching it at the collection costs and before title search, but I don't want to get on the hook for any of that. So that was my concern there in terms of any sort of, that we've done all we needed to do before it was turned over, and once it's turned over, it's out of our hands. They get the charge and not the city.
But in the contract outlines what those fees and charges would be that would be added to the tax bill itself that is delinquent. Our cost would be de minimis, meaning in terms of city taxpayers collecting delinquent taxes, which is basically preparing the envelopes to those that are delinquent over a certain period of time. And then that would be like just paying for the envelopes that they would use.
Right. But once we've turned over the list, we're out of it, right? It's then they're going to pay the fees, or they resolve it with the collection company.
Cindy, do you want to address that? Come up here, though. You notice we have a lot of sick people here. Cindy's been sick. Jennifer, I can tell she's a little bit congested as well.
So when the list is turned over to Appalachian, they will send a letter, and the taxpayer will pay the city, just like they normally would.
Right.
When it comes to the next phase, when it's time to do the pre-levy $60, they will let us know, and we will add that to the bill at that time.
Okay.
So the city is always doing the collections. We are
Right.
sending the bills and we are collecting the payments, no matter what stage it is on this, in the process.
But the expenses incurred at the point they've done the work, so there's no way, if they come back and say, hey, I just want to pay my bill, we say, well, the bill's going up.
Late, right. So as soon as the process begins, they've already been given 2 letters from us. We've already sent FIFA letters as well. At that point, we automatically add the filing fees, whatever that is at the county level, if that's a $25 fee, and the cancellation fees. So those $25 per hit are also added to the bill, which is not Appalachia's services, but it's the filing fees.
Right.
So as it's happening, we're adding that to the bill immediately.
Okay, and if you say we're still the collection point, and I believe I read it in there, that they never do the collections, it always comes
They
to
do
us. So what is the service they're providing? They're sending the one letter, and then they're doing the legal filing for the 5A on the,
We will do the filing, so they will send the first, we have the option to send a FIFA letter, and that's what we did this year, was we sent a notice of FIFA. They will be sending the next letter if we ask them to do another FIFA letter, which I would, because it comes, some of them are on our letterhead, some of them are on their letterhead. They do all the title searches, bankruptcy searches, death notice searches, all that kind of thing as part of the process of the pre-levy and the levy time frame. They are doing the phone calls. If you owe for multiple years, there's multiple levies, or multiple FIFAs, excuse me. So they are doing all the legwork. At the point of FIFA collections, they're doing the legwork, and we're out of that picture. Now, if residents have questions, they're going to call our office. So we will still be answering the questions. But Appalachia is doing the service themselves. There's also a software program that will be able to look at what they're doing and where they stand in the process. So when residents call, we can answer those questions. And to Mr. Bradford's point about changing our minimum level from $150 to $10, that is because so often the $150 may be interest or that kind of thing, fees that we charge, penalties and interest, and rather than waiving those, they are going to need to be paid first so that the tax is what's being left on the books. So that was their recommendation as to why we needed to reduce that amount to be a $10 fee instead of a $150 fee.
okay. And so I'm unclear on the need for a title search. I mean, we assume they're the owner because we've been billing them for that, right? Is that part of the state law or something? Is there a reason?
There's a title search because if you're going, once you do FIFAs, if you're going to levy on the property, then you have to notify anybody who has a interest in the property. And so that could be lien holders, people who have judgments, credit card companies, debtors, creditors, all of those people can file liens. And so they have to notify everybody before they can do a tax sale and move forward with the levy. And so title searches are required by law.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. So in short, this makes your life easier, right?
We hope so,
Got it.
yes,
And
absolutely.
It means you don't have to hire an additional person to do all of these extra.
Just to do those, right.
Got it.
Now, they will do the legwork for the FIFA, but then they provide us, for Jane to sign the FIPA itself, and then we have to physically file that online with the county.
Got it. All good questions, Mr. Purple, thank you. Any other questions? All right, thank goodness we don't have to have a public hearing on this one. All right, is there a motion?
Mayor, I make a motion to approve the contract between the city and the Appalachian Mountain Services, AMS, for the collection of delinquency city ad valorem taxes, and authorize the city manager to sign the contract.
All right, I have a motion from Mr. Hicks. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. Avery. Yes, Mr. Anderson.
Just a quick question about do we change the 150 now, or is that something we have to do separately?
I think
I think this would be germane. You could add that, but I would defer to the city attorney, but.
Yeah, the language on the agenda is specific to contract for delinquent taxes. So I think in order to add the additional item, you would need to finish this item. The council would have to amend the agenda to add an additional item, and I think it would require unanimous consent of the council.
All right, so we have a motion and a second dealing with the contract, which is on the agenda. And I'm just going to say something because you've heard me say this 100 times. I don't like to add things to the city council agenda that's not on the work session agenda. And that's just my personal opinion. I've operated that way for the 4 years that I've been the mayor. And so I'm just going to suggest that we deal with what we have before us, and we come back at another time and change that. So we have a motion and a second related to the contract. Any further discussion before I call the vote? All right, all those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. All right. All right, so that's all the items that we have for tonight. And I hate to do this, but we do have a real estate matter that we need to discuss in executive session. And if we do it tonight, it'll make the December meeting a lot easier since we're going to be taking up the budget in December. So, is there a motion to go into executive session?
Motion.
I have a motion from Mr. Hicks. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. Avery. All those in favor of going into executive session, please raise your right hand. All right, good deal. I do know we don't need to take any action after executive session, but we will come back out as we always have to do. All right, we are going to executive session. All right, we are back from executive session. We discussed one real estate matter and one personnel matter, but we have no need to take action outside of executive session. So I'll ask if there is a motion to adjourn our November City Council meeting.
Motion.
Have a motion from Mr. Hicks. Is there a second? Second from Ms. Avery. All those in favor of adjourning, please raise your right hand. All right, we are adjourned, and we'll come back in December.